and welcome to Tuesday Newsday, your #1 resource for the entire week's worth of VR news. Finally, we have a good, exciting week of VR content. It's been a while. Plus, a Newsday actually on a Tuesday, it doesn't get any better than that. And it's perfect timing because we've got new information on Valve's next headset, Elon Musk's full dive reminiscent Neuralink is about to be shown off, we've got some really good news for Meta actually, and of course, Sony is working with VRChat for cheap and easy full body tracking for everyone, including Standalone. And actually, a lot more is coming to VRChat as well. So all that and so much more, let's just get right into the news. And also, I have a little message at the end for you guys just from me to you, but let's get into the news. This year, 2022, canonically is the year that Sword Art Online took place, an anime that is often referenced pretty heavily in VR circles because of its full dive VR premise. And while we're not quite at the point of full dive VR yet, that future may be coming just a little sooner than we thought. Elon Musk recently announced that a demo of Neuralink will be shown to the public tomorrow to showcase the company's latest breakthrough in brain-computer interface technology. And Neuralink is a really interesting device. It's a chip put in your brain that hypothetically can receive and send information from your brain to the chip and back. And the company's goals are even more interesting, stating that short-term Neuralink can help people with paralysis or other neurological disorders, and long-term Neuralink will, quote, reduce AI risk to humanity, end quote. And I think the fun part here is to imagine what something like this could mean for virtual reality long-term. I still think it's pretty much the end-all be-all solution to the most immersive VR possible. No headset, no treadmills, no haptic suits, just brain stimulation. And of course, while we're still a long way out from ever having a consumer full dive brain chip, it's really fun to watch the technology progress. But now onto some meta news. So we all know that they've been in quite a bit of trouble the past few months, and well, kind of longer than that, but you get it. It's actually been the topic of most of my past few videos. Just between investors getting angry over excessive spending, Horizon really not panning all that well with critics, this atrocious video that we'll get to later, and the Federal Trade Commission being on Meta's tail, it's just been rough. But there is some light at the end of the tunnel. It seems like the big anti-competition case by the FTC will conclude by the end of this year, this case being a move by the US government to stop Meta's acquisition of the fitness app Supernatural. There has been a pretty recent big development though, as the FTC pulled out detailed internal conversations stating that Meta had planned to pivot Beat Saber entirely to a more dedicated fitness app, but instead just bought Supernatural, which is exactly what the FTC doesn't like. So that may be the nail in this coffin, but I guess we'll see by the end of this year. On the positive side of things though, the rest of the world seems to be giving Meta just a bit of a break. Maybe. Not sure how many of you knew this, but Oculus actually straight up stopped the sales of Quests in Germany about 2 years ago. And this was because of another antitrust suit by the country itself, mostly having to do with the forced Facebook logins. And well, good news to anyone that lives in Germany because it was announced that this year the self-placed ban will be lifted and Quest 2s and Quest Pros will be back up for sale just in time for the holidays. German officials state, quote, "This is a welcome development, although the process is still not concluded," end quote. At least regarding the multi-year antitrust suit. So hopefully things are looking a little bit better, possibly. But now we can talk about the fun stuff. Starting off, some really exciting features are coming to VRChat. Let's get through the less flashy part first, but still equally exciting. One of the biggest complaints I've heard people talk about regarding VRChat is that the onboarding experience is pretty rough. And on top of that, actually finding the group or people you want to play with can sometimes be daunting or impossible. Right now, you either got to spend a lot of time within VRChat to find friends, or just get lucky or use something like Discord. But something called Groups is on its way, and it's working to fix all of that. And it's something you're probably about to hear a lot more about. To put simply, soon enough, you're going to be able to join and form groups within VRChat. Say you're into music production or dancing or AI and you want to meet some friends that are also into that stuff, well, there's probably a group for that. And if there isn't, then you can make one. Also, probably the best onboarding possible for a VR app like VRChat is to just have someone there helping you firsthand. And there are also going to be groups for new users, made so that existing people can show new people the ropes. And I'm sure you can see that this basic feature will probably help a lot in bringing people together easier than ever before. And it's hopefully releasing as a beta update before the end of the year according to the most recent developer update. And you guys also know that we're definitely having a Thrillseeker VRChat group. But that wasn't the really big thing. I think you all know that I've been a champion of full body tracking for a long time. It's something I just really love, but it's expensive and absolutely requires a PC and can be a little janky sometimes. However, full body tracking is about to become a whole whole lot cheaper and way more accessible for everyone. And I've literally been waiting for this for years, but it's now official. VRChat Standalone, so the Quest version of the game, now supports full body tracking through OSC. So now you can connect all sorts of full body tracking devices to a Quest directly. Could be slimes, which I still need to do an updated video on. Maybe this is the perfect time to do it. Could be a mocap suit, Xbox Kinect, almost anything, which is incredibly exciting. It's not exactly the easiest thing in the world to set up, but it's possible now, which was not the case just a bit ago. But it gets even better for people wanting to get into full body tracking and VR. This next thing is kind of a dream come true for VR in general. Sony just announced that they will be building and releasing their own full body trackers, and that VRChat similarly is working with them to bring support to VRChat, both for PC VR and standalone usage. This is Mocopi, a set of 6 trackers that are part of a mobile motion capture setup. The fun thing here is that these not only work for VR and VRChat, but they're also just a super affordable motion capture system in general. The advertisement showing someone walking through a city being tracked by an avatar for the entire time. And this is huge. This could potentially mean full body tracking for the PSVR 2, AR, standalone VR headsets, so much. It just opens up so many possibilities, and I've been waiting for something like this. Plus, they look incredibly small and light, although not everything is so perfect yet. Unfortunately, for now, these are only being released in Japan, and they're going for around 50,000 yen or around $360. But Sony is well aware of the demand in Europe and the Americas. Another sort of downside is that these do require a connection to a smartphone and a VR headset, or a PC and a VR headset. But if you're able to get your hands on these, whether you live in Japan or you find a way to get them, or you just wait for them to be released worldwide, then you're looking at probably one of the cheapest and most streamlined full body tracking setups ever made. And I'm pretty confident that these will eventually start shipping west. I will say though, if you're waiting for this and you have some time and dedication, Slime VR does work right now with Quest, and I can imagine that these are both using similar IMU technologies, except Slime is a lot cheaper and, well, you can buy it now. But for those that aren't willing to mess around with setup, definitely keep Mocopi on your radar. It's more just incredibly exciting that a company as massive as Sony is pushing for full body tracking or anything like this at all. But now it's time for a meme break. So Meta posted a video on Twitter showcasing a new Horizon event that was taking place, essentially Godzilla attacking Horizon and a Wendyverse store, which doesn't sound that bad on paper, right? Well,
Godzilla has escaped the movies.
As you can see, no one is inside because everybody's trying to take a cover of this madness. We still have the fries and we still have the burger.
Yeah, they ended up just deleting it out of embarrassment, and I don't blame them. Watching this video, it's probably one of the most cringe compilations I've ever seen. Like, it actually feels like virtual reality purgatory. It's pretty sad. But hey, maybe they learned their lesson after this one. I doubt it, but still, back to the news. A bunch of new information has popped up regarding Valve's next VR headset, the one that we've been talking about for almost 2 years now. The maybe, hopefully, possibly Valve Deckard. But a few new exciting things have surfaced recently. And while I know it's a little exhausting to constantly be chasing Deckard rumors and leaks, it is pretty much confirmed that Valve is still working on something related to VR. To start out, Valve put up a job listing looking for a machine vision software engineer that is able to, quote, take the next steps in VR and reach millions of customers worldwide, end quote. And the fun part about this listing is that a machine learning programmer likely means that Valve is working on some sort of camera-based something, likely inside-out slam tracking like we have on the Quest and Quest 2. But that's not the only thing. According to this new Valve patent, inside-out tracking may not be the only thing that this headset is capable of. These are the most recent patents discovered for the new Deckard's controllers, offering a lot of the same features as the current knuckle controllers like finger tracking, the hand strap, and more, but also being dual tracking compatible. So you can use cameras on the headset for tracking like most devices that we have now, in addition to base station tracking. And of course, all of this is still up in the air. We're talking about patents and leaks and job listings, so I wouldn't get too excited just yet, but as someone that still uses my Valve Index years after its release, I am eagerly anticipating whatever the Deckard has to offer. I am curious though. I know what my dream Deckard would look like, but what about yours? At least in terms of specs and features. So the creator of Super Smash Bros., Masahiro Sakurai, stated recently in his new game development video series some pretty interesting and kind words about VR. While he points out that some things in VR simply aren't the best right now, like resolution and draw distances, interfaces and control methods, he also calls for everyone to at least try it, especially VR racing simulators. And I think we all know that somewhere within Nintendo they're working on VR in some way, shape, or form, and whether that work sees the light of day in a year or in 10 years, Nintendo has had its eyes on the VR industry for a long time. And it's just nice to hear Sakurai himself talk positively on the technology rather than the opposite. Although I do wonder what a world with Nintendo leading the VR industry would look like, if that ever happens. So if you're looking for a VR headset, Black Friday and Cyber Monday deals are still going on, and a lot of VR related stuff is quite a bit cheaper than usual. If you're wanting to get into simming or high quality PC VR, the HP Reverb G2 is quite literally half off right now, from $600 to $300, making it probably one of, if not the cheapest new VR headsets you can buy right now. And I can certainly say that if it's what you're looking for, then the G2 is definitely a good headset. And I have quite a few reviews on them in case you want to check those out. Meanwhile, if you're wanting to get into the Quest ecosystem, the Quest 2 is currently back on sale to $350 for the 128GB model and $430 for the 256GB model. The bundle also includes Beat Saber and Resident Evil 4, so it's probably going to be one of the best deals that we see for the Quest 2 for a long time, and that's definitely the best price that the G2 is ever going to be. And I can say pretty confidently that both headsets will certainly be relevant for the next year or two. You'll definitely get your money's worth. But now I have a little something that I want to talk to you all about. So I know things have been pretty dry lately in the VR scene. In fact, so dry that I ended up taking a much needed week away from YouTube, and I feel way better now. I think I kind of needed that after the Dear Meta video. It sucked a lot out of me. But really, I just want to say thank you all for being so patient and for being here at all. Taking time away from YouTube is probably one of the scariest things in the world. It feels constantly like everything I've worked for is just gonna disappear. And I mean, staring at stats and analytics surely doesn't help, especially when it's been more than a week since my last video. But I am really excited to be trying out some new content soon that hopefully will inject just a little more fun and excitement into VR, especially if you love it like I do. News videos are great and they're not going anywhere, but I felt like my channel's always been something more than that. And when there's no news, it's kind of hard to make videos, right? So expect more of my fun content. But again, I just want to say thank you for being here, and I really, really appreciate you. And I'm going to be trying my hardest to do more fun, cool stuff in VR and to be as positive as I possibly can. But for now, make sure to leave your question of the week down below and I will answer one of them next. And I also wanted to bring up a few things. One, Fia and I are hosting a massive Christmas party in VRChat taking place in December, so join up in my Discord for more information on that. Also, the scam bot thing is still a problem. I will never contact you through comments to win something or anything like that. Just ignore them and report the account. But other than that, I wanted to say thank you to all of my Patreon supporters, especially my Omegas. I couldn't do any of this without you. So don't forget to like this video if you loved it, subscribe if you want more of this, and hit that freaking bell if you just can't live without it. Much love, Thrill out.